Welcome everyone to another edition of New Apartment Radio Podcast. Once again, I am Bill, joined with Jackson. Jackson, what is up?
Not much. How about you, Bill?
Oh, it's doing good. Today is a good day. Today is a Saturday. It is March 2nd. We're now into March, and we're joined with our good friend Matt once again.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be back.
And from his return tour, Rayce in the Roundabouts. Rayce is here. Rayce, it's good to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, Bill, and thank you, Jackson, for having me back on here again.
How was the tour?
It was fantastic. A lot more people were there in the Dominican than I actually expected. We had a whole 12 people in the audience.
12 people?
Oh,
wow. And how many did you pay to be in the audience?
Most of them.
Fair enough.
I think two of them were like a couple homeless guys or something.
Well, hey, you know what? Whatever. Fans are fans. It doesn't really matter. Speaking about fans, I want to just bring up something right now really quick. I was on YouTube the other day, and, you know, when you're looking at something, you rabbit hole and all that stuff. But on the side, it came up a band I haven't heard in probably 10, 12 years, and I used to love them, came up, and it was the band called Mest. And I listened to their full album again for the first time, like I said, in 10 years. I knew like 95% of the songs. I could sing along still to this day. I knew them. And it got me thinking, what are some bands that we probably used to listen to years ago and probably don't even think to listen to anymore? It's just like, and there's no reason why. Like, why do we do that? Like, I used to love this band. I used to listen to it all the time. And one day I stopped, never went back, and forgot about it. Like, what?
I'm not really sure what it is. I wonder if it's just kind of moving on, like you move from genre to genre.
Maybe.
I would say it's we get tired of that genre or whatever, and like as we get older, we forget about that certain genre and want to move on. Like we change as we get older, right?
Yeah.
I think and our taste in music changes.
I get that.
So at the same time, while we still might like the genre or the band that we were listening to, is we get so wrapped up in the bands we currently listen to that we kind of just forget about it until like years later.
Yeah.
Like I get that with the Black Eyed Peas. Black Eyed Peas, I've talked before on this podcast. I used to love them. I've seen them in concert. But I just listened to my favorite album of them like maybe a month ago. But since then, it's been like maybe 10 years since I last listened to that album.
It's weird, you know, but it's funny, right? You can listen to those albums and you still know, like I said, I knew 90% of the songs. Like,
when I went back and listened to Michael Jackson after my metal charade, I still knew a lot. More than when I went back and looked at more of his stuff, I knew a lot more than I remembered.
Yeah.
And when you go back, it's kind of like nostalgic in a way, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, and like for me with this band Mest, and I don't know if anyone actually knows of them. They were a punk band at the time. They did stuff with Good Charlotte, so they're that style of punk music, right? And they're a lot. Mostly, it's like about heartache and breakup and all that, emotional crap. Yeah, stuff that you went through in your teens and in your 20s, and that's what I went through in my 20s. I mean, those were like breakup songs you listen to, like, oh yeah. But maybe that's it too. Like you said, you kind of move away from that because you grow, and maybe you're just not into that. What's going on in the song, right?
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
It's just, what about you, Rayce?
Well, I used to be big into Men at Work. They were like my first favorite band, really.
Right.
Like all the way back like grade 6 or something. And
wow.
Now they're just not. They don't really do it for me anymore.
They did Men Down Under or whatever it is? Who could it be now? That's a good tune.
They're the quintessential Australian band. I think everyone knows if there's an Australian band, it's Men at Work.
I feel like their music was probably in a Grand Theft Auto game. Like,
probably.
I would want to say.
I'm not sure. If it was, it'd be like one of the older ones.
Yeah, I feel like it would
Down
be.
Under, I think.
Yeah, I feel like it would be played on the radio when you're driving the car. Or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that was one.
Yeah, that's kind of that style of.
Yeah.
Music. It's approachable, but it's also just odd.
Very. I mean, I like them, but again, they're a band that you don't really hear much of anymore.
No.
Well, yeah, I mean, you hear the hits.
Yeah, but you're not gonna. I don't ever hear anyone saying this is my favorite band.
For sure. Yeah. They only released like 2 solid albums, and then they basically broke up after that.
Wow.
That happens with a lot of bands nowadays. Like, it seems more and more bands are making hits and then just kind of disappearing, like one-hit wonders and whatnot.
You know what's weird too is I was in the middle right now of watching on YouTube music room collections and showing like the entire room. One guy had the complete Genesis. He loved Genesis, the complete Genesis collection. He had like 4 box sets. He had all of Peter Gabriel's and or is it Peter Gabriel? Is that the guy's name?
No idea.
Peter Frampton, maybe? Yeah, the singer of Genesis. I don't know. It's one of those guys.
Phil Collins was also...
Phil was the drummer. And then there was another guy, Mike something, I believe. He had like Mike and the Mechanics or something, I believe. But anyways, this guy had all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, who loves Genesis that much? And this isn't a knock on that. I'm just thinking, like, really, Genesis? Like, I know they were big, but I just feel like...
That's a band I never even heard of. I've heard of, like, you talk about him before.
Well, you know Phil Collins.
I know Phil Collins.
He what was that big song?
In the Air Tonight?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a kind of... I don't know if they sound the same because I've never listened to Genesis, but there's a few bands that kind of all fit the same vibe of, like, hardcore collectors like them, and no one else does. You got, like, Asia, Yes, Genesis... Like all those weird, and you can tell because their albums look very similar.
Yeah,
the covers and
that was the era. That was the era of like doing acid, I think.
Yeah, it's like that prog rock, and I don't know if they are because I don't. Again, I haven't listened to them.
No,
that's kind of what it seems.
Genesis. Okay, so my buddy Ryan said that because he likes Phil Collins, and I was asking him about this. He said that early Genesis was really not bad, just different,
progressive.
Yeah, like very strange,
experimental.
Yeah, and then, of course, Phil became the singer and then kind of took off and did his own thing. Yeah,
Styx is another band like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those just bands that don't really get a lot of love except from hardcore fans.
Would Blue Oyster Cult be in that?
I think they just escaped it because they're a different kind of vibe. They aren't so much as collectors, especially because Don't Fear the Reaper blew up online and just through movies and pop culture and whatnot.
Yeah, what was their other hit?
Is Burning for You?
Yeah, Burning for You, yes. Yeah, so I think they just escaped that kind of niche.
I'm not really sure, because not a lot of people listen to like the deep cuts off.
Oh, well, sure, yeah, but that's the same thing with Rush. Like, people know the like top 4 songs, and no one knows.
Oh, speaking about Rush, okay, I want to just
Bill's
say...
favorite band.
No, I want to say something right now. I'm going to say something right now. I know I bagged on Rush, and we all know it. Jackson knows I like to bag on him about Rush. It's proven fact so far. But I mentioned this to Jackson a few days ago. I'll bring it up on here to say, hey, listen, I'll take my word back on something. I watched the movie The Iron Claw, and the training method of Kerry Von Erich, who I believe is played by Jeremy Allen White. I want to say his name is. I think he was from the show Shameless. He was working out. He was the Kerry Von Erich, and his brother Mike Von Erich put on Tom Sawyer by Rush.
Yeah.
And Kerry knew this is the music that me and my brothers Kevin and David should use to wrestle, and it fit. It actually fit. So I'll say this: Rush has some good. It could use for good theme music for wrestling.
That's what I was. Whenever you say you don't like Rush, the one thing that confused me is Tom Sawyer's such a good song. I don't know how you could dislike it.
Well, I mean, the only time I ever heard Tom Sawyer get played was a metal band called Dead Sea.
Oh, okay.
And Dead Sea played it on the Family Value Tours CD that came out in 2003 or 2001, whatever, something like that. Many years ago. I think it was 2001, actually. It was the same one it was a Family Values tour that had Stone Temple Pilots, Linkin Park, Stained on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Chester would...
a different album.
Yeah, Chester was singing like with Scott. Like they were everyone was singing with everyone. It was a really cool live album, actually. But that's the only time I ever heard Tom Sawyer. So I actually didn't know it was a Rush song. I always thought it was a Dead Sea song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that would...
Yeah, I didn't know it was a cover. Yeah. I didn't really... You know what? To be fair, I don't even know if I knew Rush existed in 2001, 2002.
I don't blame you. Most people know of them either because of Canada's radio system or because of South Park.
Yeah.
I know that's a joke, but South Park and Rush are kind of very put together, especially with the 25th anniversary of South Park. They had Geddy Lee and what is his name? Alex Lifeson. Yeah, they had them come up and play Tom Sawyer and a few other songs for the 25th anniversary, which was cool.
Yeah.
So, Bill, do you know Rush from listening to the albums or just hearing them on the radio and you don't like them?
From Vinyl Night.
Oh,
from Vinyl Night, Vinyl Night. If anyone doesn't know, it's a thing I put together like a year ago, where a group of us get together, we listen to records in our collection. That was the gist of it. Yeah. And I think it was Jackson over there. Definitely, you played it, yeah. And I was just like, eh. And it wasn't like there was nothing there to it that I said I need to vibe to again. It was just like, eh.
It's just take or leave, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's not that I hate them. I just feel like when
people say it's Canada's band.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's not, because there's so many other, and I've hit on this many times before, there's so many other great Canadian bands out there that aren't Rush or the Treasury Hip.
Speaking of which, I think most people who've watching this want to know, what do you think is the Canada's band? Because it's not Treasury Hip, it's not Rush.
No.
What do you think it is?
I think it's Our Lady Peace.
Really? I was expecting you to say 3 Days Grace.
No, I think it's Our Lady Peace, because Our Lady Peace has been around since 1993. When I think 93 or 94 is when Naveed came out. It had a good hit then when Clumsy came out with that album. Like that came out in 96 or 97. That was a really good album. That had Automatic Flowers on it, and there's a lot of good tunes on there. And then. I think it's Our Lady Peace. I do. I really think they kind of, because, for example, the lead singer, Rain, I think his name's Rain Matta, is the lead singer of Our Lady Peace. He married Chantel Kraviaka, I believe is her name. So,
I don't know much.
Yeah, that's like like the top female artist of Canada in the late 90s, early 2000s, and the top male. So to me, Our Lady Peace is Canada's band. I think Rush gets said that because I think they're first. I think they're the only Canadian band that probably ever made it in the USA.
Or just worldwide, yeah. Yeah. Because they started in the 70s, like 70s.
74, I think.
74, yeah. I was going to say 72 or 73.
Sure, so they had a stronger following.
And I think that's the only, like, again, I haven't listened to much Our Lady Peace, but I think that's the one thing that they have over Our Lady Peace or 3 Days Grace or Nickelback, is that they're 30 years or before.
Oh, of course. And that can be like that for anything. Yeah. For Rayce, you like boxing. So like people are still going to say to this day that people like Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Mike Tyson are the greatest. And they probably always will be, because they're the most well-known.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen 20 years from now? Another boxer can come through and be better than all those guys. But because we grew up in an era that knew of those people, they're always going to be.
They're never going to beat the legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In hockey, that's Wayne Gretzky, Bobby Orr, Gordie Howe, Mario Lemieux, these are the guys. 1,001 new players can come out on the ice in hockey now. Doesn't matter. Everyone knows of those guys because that was an era that was that era. The same for music. Okay, I'll say it. Music in the 70s and 80s, that was the era for music. There was no internet 100%. Then. Yeah, there was no internet. You couldn't stream stuff. You couldn't download stuff. For anything. If you missed it, you missed it.
Yeah, it was the era for live concerts and for physical media. Which is odd, because I'm pretty sure this is true. I don't know the exact statistic, but I'm pretty sure the 90s had more music sold than any other decade, even to this day.
I believe it.
I think it was just culmination of the 70s and 80s and everything into the 90s.
Yeah, I could see that. And plus the change with
grunge. And,
not just that, the change of the fact that people got out of vinyls, went to CDs. So people were rebuying albums they had on vinyl or tape on CDs.
Hip-hop became more mainstream. Grunge was mainstream. Everything was kind of joining together in a mainstream media.
And I think it's pretty cool in a sense, but it also, now it's ruined things because, for example, if back in my day, if you missed a TV show because you weren't home, you had to either catch the replay like 5 months later if you didn't tape it with a
VHS
tape. Nowadays, I missed it, I'll just stream it tomorrow on whatever website.
Assuming that they even play it live anymore, you probably just stream from the get-go.
Well, that's the thing too. Nowadays, like on Peacock in the States, like that show Ted. Did you know what Ted is, right?
I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, so they based the movie on a show.
That's the prequel, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like when the guy was like a teenager in high school, right? Which, by the way, I'll just say this: my girlfriend watched it because she loves Family Guy, American Dad, Ted, all that stuff, and they kind of fucked up on a few things.
It looks like they have some really good jokes, and then it looks kind of meh.
They had stuff like they talked about streaming back then or something. They talked about a cell phone having a photo on. You didn't have that in 1995. That was a cell phone was Zach Morris's from Saved by the Bell, giant freaking shoe like cell phone, right? That's what we had. But so yeah, like Ted, Ted, for example, is like the whole show got streamed right off the bat, like on Peacock. You could go up, and all 6 or 7 episodes were on day one. But if it was on TV in Canada, like it is on Showcase, it's once a week.
Yeah.
So you have to wait. And nowadays, like you guys are lucky. You guys, I mean, Matt, you just missed the generation of the VCR of taping stuff, I think, right?
Oh, no. I was at the very end of it.
So did you actually use...
I actually knew how to put in a tape and rewind it, play it, fast forward, all that, yeah.
I also did, but we grew up with VHS here, so...
Oh, you did have it?
Yeah, so we did use those. Not for long, but we did have those.
Same thing.
How about you?
Yeah, I had like Barney on VHS.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
when
I think I had
Shrek.
I think I had Shrek and like some old Disney films on VHS.
Yeah.
That's so weird, because I figured like... Because, I mean, you were born 2004.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were way past the era where it should have been around.
VHS, I wouldn't think... It was just barely in stores. It was mostly DVDs.
I think the only reason we had it is because we had still a box TV, and we were still, like, my parents were still didn't really want to upgrade to the new stuff yet, so we still had the old stuff. And why get rid of it if you can use
still use it, yeah. Oh, wow. But you know what the funny thing is now, too, is that people are going out now and rebuying movies on VHS because they're building retro rooms in their homes, right?
A lot of people are.
Yeah, like they're making their own video store in their homes.
Yeah,
and having
I've seen those.
Yeah, those
are cool.
Yeah, it is. You know, and like I guess we kind of do it too with our vinyl records.
Kind of, but I feel like it's more of a like the way we do it is more of a. It's not so much where we're trying to be nostalgic. We're just we're mixing nostalgia and modern day together.
That's true.
Whereas with a lot of these people that are doing it, they're trying to fit the nostalgia of the 90s or the 80s feel, where they'll build a whole room with the aesthetic and the wallpaper.
Which is cool, too. I mean, I've seen that. I just want to point out here, we're filming this, or taping this night at Jackson's, and he has a dog, Chloe. Chloe is loving what's going on the TV right now. I'm not too sure what's...
I don't even know what's happening.
I just noticed that.
I've got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on, and I obviously, I don't know what's happening, because I don't remember this episode, but yeah.
Yeah, it made me laugh when Chloe...
Speaking of which... This is one of the few things that I know that still airs weekly is anime.
Oh, yeah.
They still air it weekly because over in Japan, they haven't switched over to complete streaming. Also, they have to, in between each episode, they're still finishing the next episode.
Oh, wow.
Which is very scummy, but...
Then they also have to edit it, too, to put in the English language for the North
that's normally done a week after.
Yeah.
Like, they'll dub it over after.
So, what do you think is better for streaming? Do you think it's better if they release an episode weekly, or if they just drop the whole season at once?
I guess it depends. If they can do weekly without putting strain on the employees and the people making it, I think that the weekly model is better, because then you don't have to worry about binging a show, or you don't have to worry about spoilers, because it's once at a time, right? You can kind of pace yourself.
That's true. And I feel like that kind of format has come back. Like, that was before streaming. That was the way to do it. Like Bill said, you would have to watch every week.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't be there, you had to make sure you're taping it.
Or running during commercial to use the washroom because you couldn't hit pause.
But then when Netflix came out, they kind of just dropped whole seasons, and that was popular.
Well, no, they didn't. I'll say that they messed up with Fuller House, because they were doing half the season, and then like 6 months later doing the other half.
Yes, they did that with Seven Deadly Sins too, where they dropped half of it, and then it was like a year later they dropped the other half.
What
the hell?
That wasn't cool.
That's annoying. I don't like it when they do that.
Like you were gonna say, they've kind of started reverting back. Like I think it was The Witcher that started airing weekly. Last of Us was weekly, because it just works. It allows people to not have to worry about watching a season in a week before spoilers involve the internet.
I've noticed that's mostly on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah, so here's one for you guys. What is everyone's favorite streaming site?
I pirate, so I can't be. I just stream on news website. If I were to choose one, probably YouTube.
Well, does your family have any like actual streaming sites?
We also pirate. They have I forget what it's called, but they have the Firebox or the Amazon box. You can get shows early. We mostly use Netflix and Disney Plus, so we do use those, but we just pirate what we can.
What for you?
I hate to say it, but I have to say Disney Plus is my favorite.
I think it has the most content.
Just because they've got like so much stuff. They got all their, not just their Disney stuff, but they've got like all the episodes of The Simpsons.
Yeah,
American Dad,
Family Guy.
Even they like your old like you have Star Wars, Marvel, all the things they bought up.
They also have old comedies like According to Jim and Home Improvement. Yeah. They're all on there. Yeah,
and I really don't like Disney all that much as the company, but
definitely
their stream site is kind of on point right now.
I think they took a lot of shows that Netflix used to have.
Well, yeah, because and the one good thing with Disney Plus, you don't have to worry about one of your shows getting taken off with Netflix. That's a very likely possibility. I've had a few of the shows I know. I'm like, hey, that's on there, and then it's gone. Or like one show I watched, One Punch Man. It was on there for an English dub and a Japanese dub, and then for some reason they just took off the English dub.
Yeah,
no idea why.
One Punch Man was I was talking to Ryan about that last night because he likes that anime. It's a good one.
Yeah, well, that happened with Marvel. The Netflix had all those Marvel shows.
Yeah, they had a lot of them.
And then one by one, those shows got axed, and then they just got rid of it all. Luckily, like all that now is on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I love that, and that's the thing. I love that old series, The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Luke Cage and Ghost Rider and whatnot.
Yeah, Daredevil was my favorite, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really watch TV or anything, so
Do you have? Does your family have streaming? Like, do you guys do it? Or?
Yeah, we got like a Roku, so we got like a Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Plus and stuff.
See, for me, I watch Paramount Plus at night because Rules of Engagement.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where a lot of your sitcoms are on. Probably, right?
and I watch Rules of Engagement every night to go to bed.
90210 on there as well.
Yeah, 90210. So is Frasier, Cheers, stuff like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know me and Rayce both said YouTube, and I know it's kind of a cheat because it's not really TV streaming, but it's just a different content type.
YouTube actually has a lot of old made-for-TV movies that you can't find because people upload them, right? They have them on their VHS, they upload them, and it's just like, wow.
But I think me and Rayce are both in the kind of, we don't really watch movies or shows anymore. We watch content online, like stuff. Like I'll watch a lot of gameplay videos or analysis or whatnot.
Well, I'm guilty of that too. Like I'll watch, I'll watch other people. Like there's a guy named his name's Bill, ironically too. He lives down in like New Jersey. He has like a giant basement full of wrestling magazines, and he kind of gave me the inspiration to do my Jammers Wrestling Magazine Collection YouTube thing. And I watch his videos because it's stuff I don't own, or it's like you said, it's content. You're seeing things that you don't have or that you're interested in, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat. Whereas I don't really go on YouTube to watch like shows,
Yeah.
Well, because most of the time you have to pay for them, which is not fun.
Well, YouTube does have some free original shows that they've had.
Oh yeah, why not the YouTube Red or the YouTube Originals?
Yeah. Like I watched a series just recently on YouTube. It was called Wayne. It was actually really good. It was free.
Oh, nice.
There's a YouTube show that Victoria Justice was in where she actually has sex in it on the show.
A YouTube original.
Yeah, a YouTube original movie, like either show. Yeah, she has sex in the back of a car.
What's it called?
I don't know now. I forget. Oh, yeah, but she actually, and I'm thinking like really like out of
since when do you not know what this would be called?
I know, right? But out of all the dirty things she does, it's on a YouTube movie. Like not like
that's where the money is. YouTube is one of the biggest companies in the world.
Well, also, I'm surprised that you can like have a sex scene on there.
Well, it's not like an actual like it's a sex.
It's off screen.
It's like they're in the backseat of the car, and you kind of know what they're doing, because what they're saying and such, but.
It probably pans out the car shaking or whatnot.
Yeah, pretty much stuff like that, and then she's like, "Oh, you didn't use a condom?" Like, "Oh, what do you think it is then?" Right? Like, no, they're doing balloon blow ups. No, but yeah. So I was just thought like it's weird when I heard like, "Oh, she's doing a YouTube movie." Like she's going places. But.
YouTube has taken off. Well, I mean, YouTube's been kind of crap recently. If you really dive into like content creators and watching,
I've heard that.
But they kind of own the world right now. Like Google and YouTube are just owning everything.
You know what? YouTube's trying to, pardon my French, they're trying to fuck with our ad blocking. On the computer.
They are. Because they need money.
I know, but still, like, I found a way to get around that.
You can get away.
Yeah, I found a way to get around but yeah, they try. They're like, because they want you to pay for YouTube Premium.
They want YouTube Premium, which I get why. It's not even a bad app. Like if I didn't have Spotify Premium or Netflix, I would probably use it because you can download music and whatnot with it. It encompasses everything, but it's just not worth the price. It's more expensive than all the other ones.
I just hate when you're listening to like a band, let's say you're listening to an album on YouTube or something, just because you're chilling and you're just, you know, I don't want to go on Spotify on my computer. I just do the YouTube. Yeah. And if you had ads, you know, you don't. It's like you're listening to a song, all of a sudden a freaking ad. It's like, really, and the ads are always louder.
Yeah, and it's always like a 5-minute ad or like a.
What's that one? Remember, you said it was like, do you smoke cannabis or whatever it was?
Yes, there's one ad I get all the time, and it's some like Vancouver cannabis shop or whatnot, and it says some AI voice, and it's the dumbest stuff ever. I don't get why. Like, I don't smoke weed. I've never shown that I smoke weed, but it's always on there.
Yeah, I don't like, none of my YouTube searches are for marijuana, you know, so it's like, why do I get this?
They pay a lot of money to send those ads out.
Yeah.
I think everyone just gets the same thing. But I think just smoking
cannabis is Canadian, right?
It's big right now, so
for me.
Just everyone gets it. I don't think it's like targeted ads, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm not into
they are to a degree. Like, most of my ads are targeted, but then there's just a few that aren't.
Well, I mean, they're not targeted to the part where like they're listening in on the conversation you have, like your phone does.
Yeah, it's just what your search history is and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because I hope the phone doesn't listen to what we talk about.
Oh, it definitely does.
We would be arrested.
I know it does. I found out the other day. I remember we were talking about if how many raccoons can fit up a man's anus.
Oh, of course, we're bringing this back.
Well, because the comic came up in my Facebooking about like a cartoon raccoon talking to a guy talking about ass. So it's like the phone picked up on the certain words, and they found it came up in a thing like, you may like this. It's like
it picked up raccoon and ass, and that's what it gave you.
It gave me a comic that someone did, and I was like, okay, thanks.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so $1 million in my bank account. $1 million in my bank account. That's what I want, you know?
Yeah, I don't think you can just get that. And if you do, it's going to be a Nigerian prince scam, and they're going to steal your credit info.
Well, I guess I'll have to be a Nigerian princess then.
Well, since you mentioned it, Bill, I think we need to talk about it so the listeners know what we're talking about.
What's
Well, just the fact about raccoons up the ass.
No, we don't need to bring this up. If you want to, if you're curious about it, search up. But we're not talking about that.
How many inches can it?
No, we're not getting into this. This doesn't make any sense. A raccoon cannot go in a man's ass.
2 can.
No, it can't. Okay,
that's the fun fact.
All right, you know what? Everyone. You know, anyone who's listening to this, Google it. And
anyone who's listening to this, try it at home and then get back to us.
Anyone who's listening to this, turn this off now and just.
That's probably your best bet.
Anyone listening to this, try it at home so we can see if it's possible.
Hey, anyone who's listening to this, I hope this is working, because tonight we're trying something different. We actually have microphones on us.
Yes, if you couldn't tell already, the audio is a little bit different.
So I'm hoping this picks up. I hope we just didn't do 30 minutes of nothing right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it says it's picking up, so we'll see.
We'll see. This is fun.
I might need to get a mixer at some point just so I can have it better audio.
You should also get a turntable and like start spinning some tunes with like a DJ, like, you know.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
But that's way out of our budget of nothing.
Imagine that. You know what? I would love to do that. You know, that's missing now from hip hop is the sampling of old music and turning it with the record, you know,
I'd see it's starting to come back. There's some like not mainstream artists doing it. Like, I don't know if you know, I guess I showed you earlier. Do you know who Juice WRLD is?
Yeah.
So he passed away in 2020, I think, and he had a song written with Corday, and they had under Lyrical Lemonade. Either way, it was called Doomsday, and they sampled an old Eminem beat from the first album. I forgot what the song was called. I'll search it up in a minute, but they sampled that song and they did a remix of it. And then the next song on the album was Eminem on a remix of the remix. So the person who did the album, he went through and he remixed the Role Model. That's what it's called.
Okay.
So he remixed Role Model for Doomsday, and then he remixed that for Doomsday Part 2. So it was a pretty cool little callback to it, and that's. So it is coming back, but it's always the people that are more contemporary. They're not in their mainstream.
Yeah, because like I remember, like I grew up, of course, in the 90s. I was a teenager, so I had bands like House of Pain, Cypress Hill, Funk Dubious, Lords of Brooklyn. These were guys who took like samples and they would scratch the record, you know, to make a sound, and it was cool. And then like in the late 90s, it went to like a weird hip hop like beat.
I don't want to say it's Tupac's fault, but it's definitely he's an influence. And
Biggie,
those two amazing artists.
I believe it's called
two were pushed.
The 808 drum beat. I think it is the 808. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, because Kesha talks about it in one of her songs because she does it. But because all these artists just started just getting like record like a beat, and that's what we're just going to base it on. There was no like kind of sound.
They had no record scratch.
Yeah, that was gone, and it kind of.
I was going to say the people that continued that are the people that aren't like. They're either not mainstream or they don't give a crap. Like I know Eminem continued to do stuff like that. Maybe not record scratch, but he continued to remix songs up until even now. I think he's still.
Well, Eminem's music style definitely changed.
Oh, 100%.
As each album went on.
Yeah. Especially after his overdose, he changed drastically.
The first album. So I listened to the first one. Oh geez, it had to have been a week ago. Melissa put it on, and I like the first half of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. That song, I feel it kind of went like down. The Rock Bottom song was okay. Rock Bottom's okay, but there was just a lot of songs there that just kind of like.
What about his first big hit? Just Don't Give a Fuck. I just don't give a fuck.
It's okay, but it feels like it's like such a we get it, Eminem. Just don't give a fuck. Like my favorite song off that album is actually. Guilty Conscience.
I think that's a lot of people's favorite.
Yeah.
I have not listened to the full album, so I only know My Name Is, and then some parts, some parts of Guilty Conscience, I know some parts of Rock Bottom, but I haven't listened through.
Yeah.
But that's one that I definitely want to. And I've heard 97 Bonnie and Clyde is also a really good one.
But I don't remember. I mean, I know I listened to it. I just don't, I couldn't tell you how it goes.
That's one of the more controversial songs because it's him like telling a story of killing someone or what. Like it's one of those like storytelling songs that's very violent.
I think his best album, though, for me personally, that I've heard was the
Eminem Show.
Yeah, the Eminem Show.
Yeah, fair. I personally like Marshall Mathers LP, but that's because I know more. Like, there's more songs in Eminem Show, I think, and which means there's more weaker tracks.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because there's 2 tracks on Marshall Mathers I don't like, and there's about 4 or 5 on Eminem that I just don't care about.
Okay.
I was like, it's just numbers for me. Although then again, my favorite Eminem song is on Eminem Show.
Which one?
Till It Collapse. That song, that is the best motivating song.
Is that near the end of the album?
Yeah, it's near.
Yeah,
the end. It's like the 4th or 5th.
Yeah,
last. Yeah. The only reason that's my favorite is because it was on my favorite movie, Real Steel. It was in that movie, and that was like my movie as a child.
What's that?
That's your favorite movie?
Yeah. What's Real Steel?
Oh, yeah, for the longest time.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it was Hugh Jackman. I don't remember who else, but it was a robot boxing.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah. It was a good movie, but definitely dated. Movie.
I think that may have been the reason why Hugh Jackman was on WWE Raw then, because I remember he.
I remember that when he made an appearance.
Yeah, he punched Dolph Ziggler in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when that was?
2009 or 10. Well, I think, or 11, in that area, 9, 10, or 11.
The movie came out in 2011.
So 2011 then, yeah. That's when they were doing the guest hosts on Raw. So he was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie is just one of the best. I know it's not a like traditional boxing movie, but I say it's one of the best because it's most unique.
You know what's interesting about him too is like, so if you're gonna pick someone to play Wolverine, like he is Wolverine, like Xavier, right?
Yeah.
Is that his name? Is the Wolverine guy? Logan. Sorry, Xavier put them together, right?
Xavier's the bald dude.
Yeah. Logan is the guy. Yeah, Logan. He put them together, or Xavier put them together and made Logan was like, "I'll be Wolverine," and then like Hugh Jackman's like, "I look like this character."
There's so many, which I don't care if you hate Marvel or not. They do a good job at picking their characters. Like Chris Evans is Captain America. Ronnie Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Yep.
Wolverine is. Or Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds is fucking Deadpool. Even he referenced in the Deadpool comics as Ryan Reynolds. Mm-hmm. It's just there's so many characters they get right. Whereas DC, it's kind of like they do a good job at what they do, but they do it so many times. They have so many different actors that it's kind
of who played the Incredible Hulk?
Oh, well, there have been like three people now that play the Incredible Hulk.
Yes, they have. The original movie was different.
I think the original was in 2000, I want to say.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk movie. And I don't remember who played that, but the one who we know is Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was, what's his name? Something Norton.
Ken Norton?
I'm not sure.
famous boxer Ken Norton.
Ken Norton
played the one who was in the 2008 one, Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk is what I'm thinking. Yeah, Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. Yeah, I said Edward Norton.
And that's like that's the thing. I'm pretty sure they wanted him to be in the MCU, but they had to switch it for Mark Ruffalo because of whatever reason.
I think he didn't want to do it. Probably. I think that was the main reason.
I could see that. Or they didn't pay him enough or whatnot. But yeah, they do a good job as a Marvel fan, they do a good job at casting. Not always. Some of the newer films have been really bad, but the older films especially are amazing.
Have you seen the trailer for Deadpool 3?
I have. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
this is my last. I said this with Quantumania, which was, I regret saying, but this is my last straw with Marvel. If this movie flops, I'm done with Marvel, period.
Well, I've heard that the literal plot of this might be Deadpool saving the MCU.
It is, yes.
That's what
because in the trailer, he goes to the TVA with what's happened in Loki.
And he calls himself Marvel Jesus.
Yeah, and then he salutes Captain America. I love it's such a good trailer.
Do you watch superhero stuff?
No.
Me neither. I don't either.
If there's one film or like superhero I would recommend you watch their movies, it's Deadpool.
Well, everyone says that because
fun.
I've heard that, and I like Ryan Reynolds. I like his movies like Waiting and Still Waiting. I thought those were funny movies. And he wasn't in Still Waiting. He was just in Waiting. Who was in Still Waiting? Oh, the guy who off Reba was in that one.
They're definitely they're R-rated. They're gory. They're super controversial. It's just
so you definitely like Deadpool.
So wait, you just described what was that? Art the Clown. His movies.
It's basically Art the Clown if he was an anti-hero.
Yeah.
That's a character and a half, Art the Clown.
Yeah. It's such a good.
You know what I'm excited about is the movie Orange County. Remember that movie from back in the day?
Back in my day?
Well, 2002, I think that movie was out.
So way before you were born.
Yeah, Orange County. It was it's coming out on vinyl. The soundtrack is the only way I will get the Crazy Town Butterfly song on vinyl, so I'm gonna have to buy that album.
Oh, you're not gonna? Do they not have vinyls of Crazy Town?
They may have had them originally pressed in '99, 2000, but that's the only way I can get it because the lead singer.
That's a really good. Like you had those on 2 of them on your 7x7, so you must really like.
Yeah, I like Crazy Town a lot, and it's just whatever. I mean, I'll get that. But plus, it has the Offspring song "Defy You" as well on that. Orange County.
Yeah, that's a great song.
But there's a lot of songs on there I knew, so I was like, well, maybe it's coming out on vinyl. I mean, I don't really have many vinyl soundtracks. I have like Glory Days, the Beverly Hills 90210 show, and Melissa has some like Empire Records and The Craft. I want to say she has, but I don't know. We have more CDs for soundtracks than we do vinyls. It's just easier, I think, because a lot of stuff that was made back then was always on CD.
It says there is vinyls, but it was 99. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no way I'm getting.
Unless they do a repressing, which they could. They're a big enough band.
Yeah, I don't. The lead singer Shifty now is like he's lost all his teeth. He's a meth head. He's not doing good. Epic, the other singer, he wants nothing to do with Shifty or the band anymore. Most of the band's dead now. Anyhow, most of them have died over the years of drug overdoses. Yeah. So the original Crazy Town doesn't even exist. When Crazy Town was on tour last summer, it was just Shifty and a bunch. Just everyone else was different.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can't even say it's Crazy Town anymore. Yeah. It's just.
Interesting enough, it says on Discogs that the last release was 2021 for The Gift of Game.
Really?
So maybe there was a repressing that was small.
Must have been. It probably was on their website.
Oh, it's weird because it says 21, and then if you scroll down to formats, it's all 99. So I don't.
Well, here's the thing that ticks me off too.
Maybe it's like an MP3 or something.
It says vinyl.
No, here's the thing that ticks me off a lot. I went back, so I was looking on Discogs, and I was looking at bands I like. For example, 311. I was looking at some of their albums. Stuff was coming out like 2021, 2022. But where? It's not on Amazon. It's nowhere else. But then I started thinking there were stores. They're just putting them on their stores.
Or in Europe that we can't get.
It's like if you want this 311 album, go to 311.com and you'll get it there.
Yeah.
Because they're taking out the middleman. Well, that's cool and all, but...
Speaking of 311, I saw 311 at the record show today. I saw the Greatest Hits.
Oh, the Orange? Yeah. It's a good one. It's a good album.
Yeah, shout out to the Southwestern Ontario record show, whatever they're called, but they go around and pretty good place for vinyls.
Yeah, record shows are really fun. I went to that one in the summer with you guys, and I remember I I walked out with like $300 worth of.
It was funny. The guy that you bought those from, when we showed up, because we showed up at like 3, I think, so they were basically done. He already packed up, and he was like, "Oh, if I knew you guys were coming, I would have stayed a bit longer," because he packed up early. And I was like, "Oh, that's funny," because I'm pretty sure he remembers. I've been there every for the past year, but you've spent a lot of money.
I did. I spent so much that I remember he said,
he gave you a discount.
certain ones. He's like, you and your friends, you can get these for 25 instead of 30 or something. That was kind of neat. Yeah. And I remember I had to borrow money off Josh to get the M&M greatest hits. It was I didn't know it was there.
I saw a curtain call and I was so tempted.
Yeah,
but I got the juice roll instead.
And then Josh, I was like, well, instead of paying you back, you can take any vinyl you want that's a double. And he took, I think it was the Offspring, wasn't it? Americana, I think he took.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
that was. There's another one coming up on next Sunday in Sarnia. So I'll probably end up going to that one. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can find some actual. Because Josh just a few days ago got a Megadeth record that I don't have, Euthanasia, in Hamilton. So I'm hoping that they did a repressing and I can find it at the record show.
Doesn't it say on the Discogs that they did?
I could have looked. I'd
see
lazy.
This guy here. He was at Discogs and he didn't even think to look at Megadeth, his favorite band.
Well, because they did very rarely have record music.
Oh, sorry. High five. I'm just kidding. It's all you Megadeth fans out there. I'm kidding. They have like one good tune. It's Crush 'Em by Goldberg theme song.
I don't think I've even heard any Megadeth. I've only heard that like Watch Him Become a God, like me.
Watch Him Become a God.
Well, we like to hear Megadeth at work when Jackson likes to play his Megadeth.
Is a great band.
They're a band.
Amazing band.
They're a band.
Yeah, I've heard they're an amazing band, but the like vocals are awful or something.
That's what everyone says. I don't agree because I think his vocals fit the band. They mold the music to fit the vocals. But I get it. If you don't like his vocals, it's very nasally, very...
I heard that Dave Mustaine is a woman. Is this true?
He looks like
I miss the days when Dave was like created Megadeth just out of spite to go after Metallica. Those were better days for Megadeth.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone now. Because
now it's just government.
Has Dave finally accepted that Megadeth is on par with bands like Metallica now, or does he still not believe it?
I think he accepted that like in early 2000s.
Oh, he did finally come around.
I think it was 90. There was either his album in 97. I think he had an interview and he was like, yeah, up until this point I was trying to battle with them, and then he realized I'm successful as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have your fans. I'm sure there's Megadeth fans that don't like Metallica.
Oh, most of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a dumb argument, too, because they're both amazing bands.
Yeah,
I like Megadeth more, but that's because they have more content to consume.
Yeah, it's like saying back in the day, like, you know, who's better, like Soundgarden or Alice in Chains? It's like, what does it matter?
They're different sounds.
Right? They're just because they're both, like, technically grunge rock, but they're
hard grunge.
Yeah, they both sound good. So who gives a shit? You know, like same with Megadeth, Metallica, whatever. It's like that. You know, there's so many bands you can do that to a comparison, and it's like, why bother? Why not just enjoy everything?
What you like,
yeah.
Like you can. It's interesting to compare them and see what this band does differently, or how this band's better, or whatnot. Like that's interesting to compare, but there's no reason to hate on a band for just because you don't like them.
I know.
Yeah, I never understood that. People saying, "Oh, this band is." Or I like this band, so this other band sucks because I don't like it or something.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
Picking a side or whatnot. Yeah.
Like this other band can't be good because I don't like them.
Yeah, like no, that's...
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you don't like a band...
You can not like a band, but don't hate on their music, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's tough. That's a tough one because usually if you don't like a band, it's because you don't like their music. So aren't you really hating on them?
Well, there's a difference between saying I don't like their music and saying they're a garbage band and they shouldn't exist.
Oh, I get what you're saying then. Okay.
Like, there's no reason to excessively hate on a band just because you don't like their music. You can dislike their music. Like, there's a plot of, like, I don't like mumble artists, but I can see the appeal to them. I understand that it's very easy listens. And
what kind of artists? What?
Mumble rappers.
Oh.
Or in Rock's case, Pearl Jam. They're the mumble rock.
Ooh.
Bam.
You know what?
I've seen that online and I'm like, yep, that's pretty accurate.
Well,
you can't disagree. It's mumble rock.
I don't know.
Do you understand what he's saying?
Well, I mean, some songs I can now. I'll be honest. There's some things I can like.
Once you get used to them. That's pretty accurate, Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, I know. It's not. I mean, a lot of singers tried to be like him, like Scott Stapp from Creed. Pearl Jam sound to it. And Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day said it best. Why are all these artists wanting to sound like Cher? They all sound like Cher. Like, do you believe in love and love? Like, that's just like, yeah, that's what they sound like.
I love that interview.
I remember the greatest interview Billy Joe did was someone came up to him and asked him, "What's punk?" And Billy Joe kicked over a garbage can and goes, "That's punk." So the guy kicks over a garbage can and goes, "That's punk?" And Billy Joe goes, "No, that's just you being a poser." Because he copied it. Yeah, it was so good. It was like,
that's great.
Yeah. So true.
Ironic coming from him too.
Oh, I know. Let's be honest. We don't need to get into the Green Day vibe, I guess. We can have a whole podcast on Green Day and
we will
dissect it from
at some point.
Yeah. And that will be a hard one for Matt.
Yeah, probably just because I like Green Day so much.
Well, I like them too, but let's be honest, you hear one Green Day song, you heard them all.
You hear probably 5, you hear them all.
I guess.
Because they have a few different distinct sounds.
Yeah, because they take from a different song and they say, they'll take from 2 songs and then make a song, and then they'll take from that one and make another one.
Like you have Dookie, you have like Insomniac Sound, you have American Idiot, and then you have newer stuff. And that's pretty much it.
Like AC/DC, where it's like you have the Bon Scott and then you have the Brian Johnson.
Kind of, yeah. There's just like 2 different eras, and then
and you have the Who Made Who.
And then you have the newest Green Day album,
which is like a mold.
Like I said, it's everything. If you want to listen to every album in one go,
it's a mix of everything, but it makes it sound new.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't hate it. No, I don't. I mean, that's the thing with some of these bands now. They've been around for so long, they're gonna start sounding like their old stuff.
Yeah. With so many albums, you can only do so much riffs and whatnot.
Yeah, and they don't want to change their style, which is understandable. And if they do change their style, they're going to get fans hating on them because they're not doing their style. Yeah. All bands go through that.
Yeah, that's why it's hard for bands that have been around for a while to make new albums.
Yeah, I know.
Because they don't know how to make a new sound, I think. I'd say unless they change up the genre of music they make.
Yeah, I know.
Even if they like making what they make, then why change, right? If they like it, who gives a shit what the fans think?
True.
You gotta make music for yourself.
Yeah, but that could also annihilate. What's the word? Annihilate? Not annihilate. Where you separate the fans from you.
Alienate.
There's the word. Alienate. Because sometimes fans end up turning on.
Oh, they do.
Saint Anger is the best example. Yeah. Really, it is. That's the example people can use. Is Metallica Saint Anger? Metallica almost lost their fan base. They really did. I mean, I stopped listening to them. I stopped listening to the point where I didn't even give Death Magnetic a chance when it came out.
Most people didn't.
No.
That's why it's such an underrated album. Because no one gave it a chance. And when Hardwired came around, they finally think maybe I'll give them a chance.
Well, I downloaded Death Magnetic when it came out because I was like, well, whatever. I mean, this Metallica, I'll see. Yeah. Then I heard they had the Unforgiven 3 on it, so I had to give it a listen. I like that song. Yeah. But I didn't really give the album a chance. I just listened to that song. I was like, Unforgiven 3 is good. So I thought, well, I'll just leave it there. I'll get to it eventually. I'll listen to it eventually. Yeah. Never did.
No.
And then Hardwire came out, and I don't even think I downloaded that album or anything. I just knew the radio hit. The Flame, was it Moth?
Moth in the Flame.
Yeah. Wait, didn't The Weeknd sing a song kind of like that? Or Moth into them and
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's that. I don't know. Is your dog making weird sounds right now?
Yeah, she's having
she's trying to speak.
Dreaming, yeah.
I'm gonna look it up right now with that because once I say the band and
say your piece, it's okay.
It's The Weeknd and another artist together. They sang, and the song's always playing at our work on the radio. Yeah.
I don't think comes to mind.
The dog is like laughing, I think, in it.
Barking at something.
In her dream, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she woke up. Well, maybe not.
No.
Oh yeah, so it's Swedish House Mafia with The Weeknd, and they sang the Moth to a Flame song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like a moth
That's a very common,
to a flame.
Very common
saying. Yeah. That's why I was like, isn't that the same? But yeah. But no, that's the thing. Some bands or some artists have to be careful because they'll draw their fan base on.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, we've almost done this almost an hour, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's be honest. Can any one of us go around the room, name an album by one of their bands they like where it almost made them go, I don't know. Rayce, do you have a...
I might need a second to think.
All right, I'll let you. Jackson, do you have one in mind or no?
What do you mean by that?
Where like you love the band, and then an album comes out, and you're just like, I don't know about this one, and you're kind of like,
I'm a little late to the party on things coming out.
Me and Rayce are. There's only been like 4 albums.
Yeah, but even when you look back at some of these albums,
so is there's just an album that I think is like weak compared to the rest?
Yeah, like you love the band, and then you hear that you're like, well, this album isn't as
probably Megadeth. Super Collider came out in 2011, and it is just not good.
No,
it's just boring. It's bland. It sounds bad. It's just I like everything else they've done, or at least I can appreciate everything else they've done. That album is just garbage.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
For me, I think it'd have to be the newest Metallica album that came up. What's it called?
72 Seasons?
72 Seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it was good. Don't get me wrong. It's good, but I kind of expected more going into it,
Okay. Because it was kind of like their big triumphant return to the...
Yeah, because I felt like they amped it up so much, but then when it came out, it was just regular Metallica stuff. I was expecting it to be a lot better.
I feel like if they released different singles, it would have been better received.
Yeah.
Because they released probably the worst tracks as singles.
Yeah, the deep cuts are better.
Yeah, the deep cuts are definitely like the last 3, amazing.
Yeah. Well, so when I like the Too Far Gone. Yeah,
that's become a radio hit now.
Oh, it has finally. Yeah,
afterwards.
That's good. Well, Rayce,
I'm not really sure I really have one.
You're telling me there's not one Deep Purple album where you're just like,
Well, I mean, like, Who Do We Think We Are is like kind of whatever, and
is it okay? Here's an example. Is it an album that you're gonna like? Oh, I can't wait to listen to this. You know what I mean? Really. Yeah.
I mean, it's here with me today for Violent Night.
And I own Saint Anger too, but doesn't mean I want to listen to it right now.
Like I have it just because gotta have it for the collection.
Exactly.
Sort of thing.
And for me, of course, it would be Saint Anger by Metallica because they really drove me away from Metallica
or Father of All.
Okay, yeah, that's a really bad Green Day album, and it's so bad I didn't even think about it. It's been sitting on Amazon for like $29 to $33 all the time on vinyl, and I don't even buy it because it's just if anyone hasn't heard it, picture Billy Joe with his nuts cut off, singing like in a high-paced sound. It's on
acid.
It's bad. Yeah. It's just really bad. I don't know what they were thinking, and luckily they came back with Saviors, and they rebounded with that nicely, but. Mm-hmm. Oh, but yeah, and for 311, I did not care for. I think the album was called Transistor. It was a really long album. It had like a lot of songs. Look that up. See, it's 311 Transistor. Am I right with that? It came out after the Blue album. I want to say
some weird album cover
where
it's like
that's it. And it's got like 19 or 21 songs or something on the album.
Jesus,
and there's only like 3 good tunes on the album, and at least to me.
I think it says 18 songs.
Yeah.
21. Jesus.
Yeah, so I was right, yeah. And I think they only had like I think I want to say I think it was Eons on there maybe. I don't know if that's on another one, but
no, it's not.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's not Eons. It's a song that sounds like that. It's on there. I can't think of it now. Is Beautiful Disaster on there?
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably like one of their better songs off the album. It's just not a good album. They kind of changed their style. I didn't like it, so it made me hesitant to want to listen to their other stuff. Then I ended up listening to it. I was like, oh, it's better. But yeah, it is funny how certain bands can try something different and make the fans go, I don't know. It's right, Chloe? Mm-hmm. Chloe the dog. Do you have a pick? Who let the dogs out? Yeah, that's
what's going on.
No, she's like, everyone shut up. I'm trying to sleep. All right, everyone. Well, Rayce, where can we find you on social media?
On MySpace.
On MySpace. Is that Rayce in the Roundabouts?
Yes, sir.
All right, Matt, where can we find you on social media?
Just Matt King.
Just Matt King?
Both my Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Jackson, where can we find you on social media?
It's linked in the bio. Okay. Same with Bill.
All right, cool. All right, everyone. This was another edition of the New Apartment Radio Podcast. And for Rayce, and for Matt, for Jackson over there, I am Bill, and we will see you again on the next episode. Peace.